Henry David Thoreau was an American writer and essayist who had many different beliefs that he shared through his writing. Henry wrote an essay on civil disobedience, which has a very complex definition, and that is the refusal to comply with some strict laws, refuse to pay taxes and fines, but in a very peaceful manner. An example of it would be a person who is planning on breaking the law, but they are going to do so obediently, such as the guy who refused to pay his taxes and served his time in jail without fighting and making it a huge deal. And therefore, it was a win for the guy who went to jail. Henry David Thoreau had some very tunnel vision views on the government, and he feels that it should be ran just the way he wanted it. The way he wanted our government to be ran was little to no government. He thinks that every person has a good nature naturally, and that we should be allowed to govern ourselves. He believes that the government is like a boa constrictor, these are my words, and every time that we let them get away with something, they tighten up a little bit and a little bit more at a time. And next time they are looking to take away more until therefore they have completely strangled us, or in other words, taken full control of our country. And in this way of persuading these people, until therefore they have completely strangled us, or in other words, taken full control of our country. And in his way of persuading these people to think the same about the government, he wrote Civil Disobedience, in which it explains how we can go about that issue. His rhetoric use was phenomenal throughout his essay, and he used all three sorts of rhetoric through the whole thing. Those were the techniques he used to persuade all sorts of people with different culture and different cultural lenses. And the relationship between the individual and state, Henry David Thoreau feels that the individual is lesser than the state, that everyone in the state feels like they are better than us, and that they do as they feel and not how we feel, which is their whole point entirely, especially in our government, because they're supposed to be doing what we want them to do, like we're their boss. And Henry David Thoreau feels that it's the other way around, and they look down on people who are not in the government. And my evaluation is that I agree with some things and I don't agree with some things. I feel that Henry David Thoreau has some great ideas, but at the same time, I don't feel like we could just go without no government, because then shit would just get haywire. And I feel like we need the government to keep law and order in this country. So